Hey, and welcome to another day on the shop. Today we're getting back to the Turbo 240. So I had to raise it up a little bit more to get the exhaust where I needed it. Right now I am figuring out this turbo dump pipe, elbow, whatever you want to call it. I need it to line up with the turbo, go down and line up with the down pipe up under the car. My issue is the down pipe is actually for like an S13 and the turbo elbow is for an S13. Well, in a KA, the turbo with S13 everything and bottom mounted turbo, it doesn't line up. It actually is about an inch and a half off from the down pipe because of the fact of it's just taller. I mean, most of the time you can order them already made. Since this is a 6-bolt turbo, I'm not doing that. I figured I'm going to fabricate. So we're going to cut apart this turbo elbow and make it fit with the flange I have because I just want to fabricate. I don't want it the easy way right now because otherwise I would have ordered one and already had it in, bolted it up, been done. But I'm not doing that. I'm enjoying my fabrication. So we got the welder hooked up again, a different welder. I want to try it out a little bit more exact dialing on the amperage and the wire speed. I don't have my TIG set up yet. I gotta figure out some wiring with it. But yeah, we're gonna get into this. I did find out another thing. For my intake, I need 2 1/4 elbow for that, and I need a 90 2-inch elbow for that so that it can line up. Because all I have is 2-inch, 2.5, and I think I have a 3-inch, 2.5, or yeah, 2.5 to 3-inch. But I do not have a 2 1/4, so I'll have to order me a 2 1/4. So yeah, let's get to fabricating this. Alright, so what I decided was I'm just going to cut all this off. I'm going to end up blocking this off anyway. There are down pipes made, turbo elbows that are made, where it's just a flat plate and then one single hole for the exhaust. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lop this off right here and just have the single pipe, and then I'm just going to put a piece of metal right there so that all it does is go into this one pipe, because there's no sense in that. And I'm not turning up the boost, so our little restriction won't really hurt. It's not a huge turbo, not running a whole lot of boost. So yeah, that's what the deal is. So I'm going to take my cutoff wheel and just go around the edge of this pipe back here and cut that off, and then come around here, and like I said, I'm probably just going to lop that off right there, or I'm going to cut all this off and then just do it reference. But as I know of, I'm going to end up cutting this off anyway. So yeah, I just mainly need that pipe right there and this circumference so that it'll fit in that flange. So that's what we're doing. Just drilled the holes out because the bolts didn't fit through it like I wanted to in the other downpipe turbo elbow. The bolts right here that went into the actual downpipe, they threaded into this. The thread for this, I don't know what thread it is. I couldn't find a bolt, standard or metric, that fit it. So I just drilled it out, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the nuts that are with the kit and just weld them to the back side up here. So all you have to do is go in from the bottom and you're good. So I'm going to get to cutting this. Alright, so we went from this to this. Yeah, there's still a little bit of corner on there, but that's going to be helpful to line this up straighter. And here, excuse me. All right, so this is how we're doing it. We're going to stick this in the downpipe and try and line it up like this. I might take the welder or just try and tack it and see if that'll work. But I want to make sure that the angle is good. So, and if it is, then that's going to be perfect. If it's not, then I'll have to figure something else out. But like I said, I know I'm going to fill this other side in with plate. So I might even try and angle the plate towards this hole over here. But we're going to have to figure out how this fits in here relative to the downpipe. So we're going to get the downpipe in, and I also have to weld in the nuts to here too. So I'll take the downpipe out and I'll put the nuts on here. I'll weld them on real quick, and once I tack them on good, then we'll get to this, because I'm thinking I might have to cut this off, and I don't want to, but I might, because I might have to extend this pipe. If I have to extend the pipe, well, then sacrificial, this one's being cut. I don't like that, but it is what it is to make what I want done. Otherwise, I don't have any stainless in here, not yet. So I could make a phone call, but I'm having fun doing this my way. So yeah, let's get the downpipe out, weld some nuts on. All right, got the downpipe here, got the turbo dump right here. Go ahead and stick these in, wind these down, snug these up, and then I can even cut the bolts a little bit short if I want, because these bolts are quite long. All right, the reason why I'm doing this is because you can see the play, so you don't want that much play whenever you're sitting there trying to figure out where these bolts bolt up to. So you want minimum play. You want to try and get in the middle as much as possible. You're going to snug these all the way down, all the way around. So once you go to welding them, they don't end up in the wrong spot. I'm happy this wrench fits on here just enough. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just going to put a little tack on each side, and then we'll come back and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, so that we end up with a good surrounding on that. So yeah, I normally use flux core, but today I'm using gas. So yeah, we're going to do that. Alright, so it's back together. I'm going to crawl up into the car and put it back in place. I don't know if it's going to bolt up on the bottom or not. We're going to see what it can do. Hopefully it lines up somewhere near the downpipe flange. Hopefully. If it doesn't, we'll just have to add. Alright, now that we've gotten everything where it's kind of adjusted, I don't know if you can see that. Oh, down here, the elbow is right there. The flange is on there. I got to pull the elbow up and tack it. Down here, oh, sorry, my finger. My exhaust is hanging down pretty low. It's missing a few hangers, and I've got to fix that. The hangers is missing. It's basically missing the bolt to hold it in place. So I've got to fix that so that my exhaust isn't sitting there just, yeah, whatever that means. It's not just hanging from like one hanger and then the bolts that go all the way to the engine. There is a flex joint in the downpipe, but that's not going to help 100% if it's not mounted like it should. So I'm going to make sure it has at least 2 to 3 mounts from the downpipe all the way back. just to help support and keep vibrations down, rattling, and tuck it up a little bit more because it's pretty low. And having a low car with low exhaust doesn't really help out. So we're going to tack this elbow on the flange, and we'll pull it out. Excuse me. We're going to pull it out, and yeah, we'll weld it. So let's get this up in here and tack it in place. All right, where I tacked it, it's right off of the transmission, about 1/2 inch, and it's falling into place. I might have to bash in the floorboard, which is a normal thing on a 240 that has a KA versus an SR. With that downpipe, like I said, it's a little bit higher, so you might have to hit the bottom side where you're basically right behind the pedals with a hammer and just kind of massage it a little bit to help out with that exhaust so it doesn't hit the floorboard, which isn't really an issue because it's not cosmetic. It doesn't create any damage structurally or anything like that. It just molds the metal a little bit, and you'll never see it, you'll never feel it. So we might be doing that just to create a little bit of clearance under there, and if we do, if we don't, that's even better. But we'll probably have to do that just to make sure it doesn't hit as we're riding around. So I'm going to mark where it's basically touching or near touching, and then I'm going to pull this downpipe off and the elbow, and we're going to get to welding that. All right, it's tilted a little bit, but that's okay. We'll get all this ready to go, and then we'll get that one piece of metal. I'll measure it out, and we'll put it as a plate on the back side right here, and we'll just weld it all in with everything else. So it'll probably be like I don't know, 1/8 inch steel. I have a piece right next to us. That'll probably be it. I'll cut it out, I'll measure it up, and smooth it out, and then I'll probably start welding on this so that as it heats up, it doesn't warp this flange, because that'd be a big no-no. But yeah, we'll lay a bead on this as much as we can, hitting all these spots that need to be hit, and yeah, we'll probably take it off the downpipe though, so that I can get a little bit better grip on it. So I'll probably just mount it to the table somehow. But yeah, this is where it's going. It's got a little angle to it compared to where it was with the other flange, but I like it because it sets it inside of it a little bit, and it's not flush how the other one was. So it gives a little bit more room so the gases can kind of come from the wastegate and go in and over to the exhaust a little bit easier. So let's get this other piece of steel ready to go, and yeah, we'll get this going. Alright, for what I'm doing, it doesn't look half bad. It'll hold. That hole's all filled in on both sides. And then I got some slag all up in there, but it's a fab project. I haven't done this in a long time, so this is something you can do, because I'm having fun with it. The only thing is I got to make a couple of modifications, because I need to flatten that out right there where that is with a grinder, because it's too far where the nut's supposed to go. Actually a bolt, but that bolt needs a place to sit flat, so I'm gonna have to grind that out just a little bit, which isn't too bad. It does have a weld on the inside, but once I grind it down, I'll double check. This is probably the plate I'm gonna use. I mean, it's not the thickest in the world, but it's pretty thick. So yeah, we'll cut it out, and I'll measure it up, cut it out, draw on it, find out exactly where I need to be on it, and then grind it all out. Alright, so this thing's still hot, but I use my calipers, and find out. It'll turn on and just decide to turn back off. I don't know why. The battery's messing up. Alright, there we go. Alright. Let's go from here to here. Alright, what's that measurement? 54 millimeters. 5 millimeters. 2.145. So, there's that one. And then, let's go this way. So basically, a little less than 2.5 inches both ways. So that's what we're going to do. Measure it up on that steel and cut it. Alright, so I'm not going to be using that angle. I've got another piece. This is IR plate, or AR plate. So it's extremely strong and heat treated. So I'm going to measure this up and we're going to cut this. Alright, so looking at this, on this hot piece right here, 2 by 2 is just a perfect amount to go to the back side of this. So that's what we're going to do, and then we'll shape it up to fit in there perfect. Alright, so cut that with the bandsaw. Works out really well. I like, woo, that's hot. I like it. So what we're going to do now is, probably the best way to do this, probably lay this down on here and trace it out with a Sharpie. I got a little excess, so if I can trace it out with a Sharpie, I can just go on the very outside of it. That'll probably be what's best. I'm gonna grab a Sharpie. Alright, so that's my Sharpie line. Yeah, I'm gonna try and stay on the outside of that as much as possible. Probably give a couple millimeters on the outside of that so that when it fits over it, it's not falling through. So, yeah, let's cut this out now. Alright, I want to give a massive shout out to BenchMark Abrasives. Yeah, they're the ones that have supplied me with my cutoff wheels and sanding discs. They have awesome products. If you haven't checked them out, check the link in the description below. Keep up with our Instagram and you'll see that we have giveaways, and the giveaways normally end up having something with BenchMark Abrasives because they really like their customers and they have really good customer service with all that. So check them out. Alright, hopefully my battery doesn't die before we talk about this. This thing is hot. So we got this. Put on my other glove. I want to touch this stuff, it's hot. It's hot. Alright, so let's take this, place this up here. Alright, we got a little bit more cutting to do. We got a little bit more cutting on that side, and we can kind of trim off the corners, especially this corner. So what we'll do is we will push this down a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so that one's going to be free and clear. Once we edge that down, fill that hole with weld. But we'll kick this in a little bit and try and take care of that to take out that little step right here, because I didn't do that flat and I should have. So yeah, we'll just taper that down a little bit more with the straight blade, and then we'll sand it down a little bit. And what was the other place I needed? Let me mark this. Alright, that's not perfect, but it's as good as it's going to get, and that's where I'm keeping it. So yeah, we're going to work with that from on right there. We're going to tack this in and then we're going to weld it. So that's right where I want it. So let's get to this. Alright, well, it's not the greatest welds in the world, like I said, but yeah, that'll work. That'll do, pig. That'll do. I'll lay a bead inside to make sure it really seals it up. Get all this slag out with a deburr carbide bit, and even though it's not going to do anything, everything's open exhaust wise. But let's lay a bead here and then go around the outside real quick, and then all I gotta do is just clean up these edges a little bit with a carbide burr or something, and yeah, this should fit. So let's do that. It's done. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it was welded by a professional, but hopefully I don't have any little pinholes. Did interior and exterior. My interior, I ran out of argon whenever I was doing the interior, so it doesn't look like it's any good. But hey, the exterior looks decent, and as long as it didn't work the flange too much, and this fits in there, I don't really care. So let's pull the turbo out, see if I can put this on there, and if I can bolt it down. If I can bolt it down, it's staying. The only other thing I got to do with the turbo is route the coolant lines and the oil line. And the coolant lines, I'm just going to see if we can see this. Maybe. Nope. Let's grab my flashlight. Alright. The little loop, right down here, is a heater hose loop, which went to the heater core. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that and have one end going to the turbo and the other end coming from the turbo back to the cooling system, because I don't have anywhere else to really put it. I probably could find something, but that's the simplest and easiest way because it's a loop anyway. So I'll just have it loop through there and be done. So and then the turbo oil will come from a T off the oil pressure sensor, which already has a T in it, so it's going to have two T's in it. Go to the top right here, which is probably going to be spun around the other way, so it's kind of going back behind it. And then the drain is going right next to the motor mount. But I had to order a new drain because this drain doesn't really fit. It's too small. And I could cut these edges off, but I don't trust it to do that and then put big washers on it and ghetto rig it. I'm already rigging enough with what I'm doing, but it's fab work and I'm enjoying it. So alright, I'm going to get down there and take care of some business with the exhaust and the body, like I talked about earlier. And then after that, we're going to pull this turbo. Alright. Good. Good. Put that on there. Slide this on there. Alright, so that's on. Got my other water line on. I just gotta get hoses for both. Well, I got hose for one, but I need for both, and then I need heat sleeves for both of them because I don't want it getting overpowered by the exhaust. But I'm also wanting to get a boot, well, not boot, a cover for the exhaust housing so that it keeps the heat down in the engine bay. And then screw the rest. So this isn't all the way bolted down still. I'm going to snug these up just to tighten it down just a little bit more. And once I do that, we're going to throw this all back in and hope it fits. And this is bolted good to this. If it leaks at all, I'll pull the whole thing off and put some gasket maker on it, some copper gasket. On here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll probably preemptively do both actually before I finish, because the turbo's got to come back off for a gasket, and this might just get undone. And I might put lock washers on the back and put Loctite on it and the gasket maker. But I gotta get some bolts for this to hold good. And yeah, so let me tighten this down so it snugs it up a little bit better. Pop this back in, get the down pipe bolted back up, finding out where my exhaust is going to go, and hopefully fix my exhaust problems. Once I do that, we should be in business for the exhaust going in and the turbo being hooked up, minus lines. So let's get that. Alright, well, taking this whole thing out and putting it back in, my brake lines are getting in the way. I guess normally what people do is they loosen up the brake master before they play around. Pushing and pulling, but it's in. So I'm going to put a bolt on it real good, hold it in place, and then look at my exhaust. Alright, well, I'm not going to show y'all because it's just a painful thing to do, is get up under here 15 million times and hook things up. So I'm going to do that and I'll let y'all know what happens. Mainly all I'm doing is hooking this up and seeing where the other exhaust lies. Hopefully this didn't hit the body anymore either. So let's get this in here now. Alright, as for this video, the exhaust is still hitting in a few places. I had to pull it forward. It's a little bit more forward than I wanted it, because it yanked the tips way back there. So yeah, I might have to talk to a buddy about an extension piece, just long enough to where I'm not burning a hole in my bumper, and it'll fix my mounts, because my mounts being pulled pretty bad. So even if I move the mounts, the muffler's still going to be too far forward. But everything's fitting pretty good down here. It's all clearanced. So, but I'm going to call it a night, because it is a night and it's late. But we got another part done. It's going to be a little series of lots of things, because I'm being kind of more tedious than just throwing this thing together and burning it up. So, but I'm enjoying it, and it's fixing some other issues I already have. It's also creating other issues I don't want. But so yeah, in the next episode, we'll probably end up putting some gauges and stuff in. So till next time, check out Teespring, check out Instagram, check out TikTok, check out all social media, and give this one thing you like if you like it. If not, leave a comment. But thanks anyway. Till next time.